Effect of dilution on molar conductivity for the chapter electrochemistry. First thing, this molar conductivity and concentration directly it can be studied from these two graphs. Look at these two graphs now. This graph is based upon the equation called as Debye-Huckel equation. Debye-Huckel equation is lambda m, which is molar conductivity. This is lambda m infinity, which you don't know right now, minus b root c. Now here you seeing this equation is something like y is equal to c minus mx. That is equation of a straight line, in which the y-axis is molar conductivity. I have taken molar conductivity, and then here I have x, the root c is on the x-axis, and b is my slope, and it is a negative slope. That means it clearly shows that molar conductivity decreases with increase in concentration. This is the increase in concentration. So root of concentration, decrease in concentration, molar conductivity is decreasing. But we are talking about dilution. Dilution means reverse of concentration. So molar conductivity is directly proportional to dilution. So here make it very, very clear now. That is, if dilution is increased, if I add more and more and more water, my conductivity will increase. So conductivity increases, molar conductivity increases with dilution. Now what is the reason of drawing two graphs here? One with KCl, one with acetic acid. That means I have to study this concept for two different types of electrolytes. KCl obviously is a strong electrolyte because it is a 100% ionic bond. Acetic acid is a weak electrolyte because this is polar covalent, it is not ionic. So there is a difference between conductivity of strong electrolytes and conductivity of weak electrolytes. So we'll take them one by one. What happens in strong electrolyte? You're seeing that the graph is something like this, clearly shows as concentration is decreasing, conductivity is increasing. So suppose I stop it here. I start with a very strong concentration, and then I go on adding water. Conductivity is going on increasing, and ultimately I am stopping my experimental work here. But the graph can be extrapolated. It can be extrapolated and make it touch the y-axis. Okay, that means that if I go on adding tons and tons of water, it doesn't mean that conductivity will go on increasing indefinitely. There is a limit, and that limit says it is infinite dilution. That means it will reach one maximum point above which the conductivity value will not increase. It means that lambda m infinity means molar conductivity at infinite dilution. That means you put a full stop there. If you add more water, conductivity will not increase, and that point is the extrapolation of this line, the point which touches the y-axis, that is called lambda m at infinite dilution. So this is very, very clear. So KCl's conductivity will go on increasing and reach one point. So why does this happen? Because KCl is a highly ionic bond, and once you add water, what happens is, the reason is the inter-ionic attraction decreases. The inter-ionic attraction, not distance, the inter-ionic attraction decreases when you add water, because it's a plus ion, minus ion, that ionic attraction is very strong. So if I add water is a polar solvent, it makes them move apart, and it makes the ions more mobile, so conductivity increases. So with dilution, okay, so inter-ionic attraction decreases on dilution, so conductivity increases. But now we come to the weak electrolyte. Here what happens, the trend is same. On dilution, conductivity will increase. But what is happening here is there is a sudden steep increase. Here there is a gradual increase, but here there is a steep increase, and it is becoming asymptotic. It is not touching the y-axis. It is becoming almost tending to y-axis, but it is not touching it. It is only something like a hyperbolic. So it is tending towards, or I should say it is becoming asymptotic. I cannot find out the infinite dilution because the graph doesn't show that it will meet the y-axis. So why does this happen? The first reason is weak electrolytes are reversible. All of you know that acetic acid plus water gives me acetate ion plus H3O plus. After some time it reverses back. And once reaction is reversible, it will attain what is called as equilibrium, and I have something called equilibrium constant. This you have seen in class 11. The equilibrium constant is the ratio of the product of the concentration of the products divided by the product of the concentration of the reactants. So here I have acetate ion, H3O, this is minus sign here, acetate ion, H3O plus, acetic acid and water. Now all of you know that Le-Chatelier's principle says that you bring about any change in any one of them, the reaction will proceed in such a direction so as the K is kept constant. So on dilution, I am adding more and more and more of water. So if I go on adding water, that means this will increase. So in order to keep K constant, this has to increase. This has to increase means these two are the ions. So acetate ions and H3O plus ions, that means ionization will increase, number of ions will increase. If number of ions are increasing, that means conductivity will definitely increase. So there is sudden steep increase in conductivity here due to addition of water. Water plays this role. Because it is reversible, water has this role that slowly, initially it is not, because it has not attained equilibrium. Once equilibrium is attained, then what will happen? Water is disturbing the equilibrium, so there is sudden increase, more and more ions are furnished. So the problem here is, you will find that the trend is same, but the graph is not same for both the reactions. Now this results in what is called as a law, called as Kohl-Rausch's law, and you have sums on that. So what does this Kohl-Rausch law say? It says that at infinite dilution, each ion of an electrolyte makes a definite contribution towards molar conductivity irrespective of the other ion, which means that this is specially meant for strong electrolytes. It means that if the strong electrolyte is touching the y-axis like this, it is touching the y-axis like this, means K plus and Cl minus has become independent there. They are not dependent on each other. Whatever is the contribution of K plus, whatever is the contribution of Cl minus is not, because they have become so far apart that there is no effect of K on Cl, no effect of Cl on K. So they have become independent. So each ion behaves independently. That is why they are having an infinite dilution, a maximum dilution value, maximum conductivity value is shown there. So that is what the law says, that at infinite dilution, each ion of an electrolyte makes a definite contribution towards molar conductivity irrespective of the other ion. This is mainly meant only for strong electrolytes, not for all. Okay, so bear it in mind, Kohl-Rausch's law is meant only for strong electrolytes. Okay, now the thing is, what will you do for weak electrolytes? For weak electrolytes, I can find out infinite dilution value through indirect method. So this numerical will help you to understand that. Look at this numerical. Calculate lambda m infinity means molar conductivity at infinite dilution. That means maximum water is added. For acetic acid is a weak electrolyte. I cannot find out from the graph. I have to find out indirectly using calculation. From lambda infinity for HCl is strong, so I can find out from the graph this value. Lambda infinity for NaCl, again a strong one, from the graph I will get it. Sodium acetate, CH3CONa, again it is strong, I can find out. So using these three strong ones, how will I find out for acetic acid? So this is very simple. Kohl-Rausch's law states that lambda infinity for HCl is lambda infinity for H plus Cl minus, because they have become independent now. So whatever is the contribution of H plus, whatever is the contribution of Cl minus, add both, that becomes lambda infinity for HCl, the value is this. So adding both, I get this value. Same way, NaCl will be Na plus Cl minus, and CH3CONa will be this cation, this anion plus this cation. So this plus this comes to this. Now I want for acetic acid, which is acetate ion plus H plus ion. So now on this, I want H plus ion, I want acetate ion. I don't want Na, I don't want Cl minus. So what I can do is, I can add this and subtract this. So that Cl minus will get cancelled, Na will get cancelled. So what I can do is, I can add 1 and 3 and subtract 2. So if I do that, I will get only these two ions left, others all will get cancelled. So same way you can do to the values. So values also, 1 is 426, 3 is 91, minus 126, it comes to 391 ohms inverse centimeter square mole inverse. So in this way, indirectly I can find out the lambda m infinity for acetic acid, which I cannot find out from the graph. And other thing is, I can proceed, because weak electrolytes means you have something called alpha. Alpha is degree of dissociation. If they are not dissociating 100%, to what extent they are dissociating, I can find out, because lambda m by lambda m infinity, this ratio is my degree. Because at a particular concentration, at infinite dilution, if I have both the values, the ratio will give me alpha. And once I know alpha, I can find out what is called as dissociation constant for the electrolyte, Ka. This is C alpha square. These both the things are coming from the equilibrium chapter of last year. So once I know concentration, once I know alpha, I can calculate Ka. And for calculating alpha, these two values can be used. So this is specially meant for weak electrolytes, because weak electrolytes are reversible. They will follow equilibrium, and the equilibrium concepts can be found out using Kohl-Rausch's law of independent migration of ions. So this is the application of molar conductivity, its dependence on dilution, and finding out molar conductivity at infinite dilution for weak electrolyte and their values. its dissociation constant, its degree of dissociation also can be found out. That is it.